While the weather may be rather unsettled in parts of the Canaries, the Azores, and Madeira, it is what that influence may have on the UK that is probably the more important story of the day. Thanks for clicking on to the Tuesday edition of Hogan's European Outlook. It looks as if Storm Oscar, that was named by the AE Met Service, thus the Spanish Met Service, looks as if we may have broken a record for rainfall, and actually a Portuguese national record that is as well, where we have seen in a 24-hour period. Now, this is a tweet here by Medio Trans Os Montes, Portugal, and it says here that accumulated precipitation over a 24-hour period between 1200 yesterday and 1200 today recorded a place sandpit, obviously a high elevation location. This is the island of Madeira, by the way. It looks as if Madeira was hardest hit. We did see some heavy rainfall and some wind across the Azores. But it looks as if Madeira and the western side of the Canary Island archipelago, it's the western side that got hit hardest by this area of low pressure. Looks as if areas, islands further east, seen less in the way of impact. But certainly, Sandpit, this location in the mountains of Madeira, recorded an astonishing 540.1 millimeters of rain over that 24-hour period. And according to this source, the previous record was 346.8 millimeters back in 2008, and other incredible amounts of precipitation within that 24-hour period. High peak 438.3, Mount 342.3, and then we've got a few, but all in excess of 300 millimeters. Pretty remarkable stuff, actually, when you think about that, and it'll be interesting to see whether this is deemed official or not. But certainly, this was the scene in parts of Madeira over the last 24 hours. Pretty dramatic scenes indeed. Flash floods and very, very troublesome conditions indeed. But there is a bigger story going on here, folks. We do have a change in the weather pattern as we go forward, and actually, you have to go all the way back to the western portion of the Pacific. Remember, it's been mentioned in recent global weather reports on a Sunday afternoon about Typhoon Mawar, which was and is the strongest tropical cyclone anywhere in the world so far in 2023. But what that is doing is it's a recurving typhoon. So in other words, it's not really actually made any direct impact on land apart from Guam, and even Guam, it didn't make a landfall there. It was kind of a glancing blow, bringing winds in excess of 100 miles an hour, heavy rainfall, the usual story that you would get with regards to a tropical system. But as Mawar then drifted kind of west-northwest towards the Philippines, it deepened to a very, very powerful typhoon indeed. But then, of course, with the jet stream coming off the Asian continent, that has forced Mawar to take that right-hand turn. And in turn, it has actually strengthened the jet stream over the Pacific Ocean. And therefore, downstream of that, we are starting to see that change now. Of course, we've had high pressure anchored just to the west of the UK for really the past several weeks. It has been very persistent. We have seen very little, if any, rainfall in quite a long time. And it looks as if we are going to start to see that final kick, with seeds attributed all the way back to the Western Pacific, with Mawar strengthening that jet stream over the Pacific Ocean, then in turn affecting the North America pattern. And what essentially we're going to start to see is, as we've got this branch, this arm of very strong winds here, what we've got is we've got this very unusually far south, unusually strong subtropical jet over the central portion of the Atlantic Ocean. Hence why we've seen this feature developing to the west of the Azores, Madeira, the Canary Islands, bringing this unusual wind and rain event. And I say unusual because it is an unusual time of the year to see this. You typically have that strong subtropical high dominant from now right the way through till, really the autumn time quite often. But of course, with a strong block further north, that tends to force the jet stream further south. It has these weird meandering positions. It develops odd areas of low pressure, and that's exactly what we're seeing at the moment across and to the west of Northwest Africa. But it's as we press through this loop here, folks. This is, of course, Wednesday, the middle portion of this work week. We've got this strong jet crossing over the Pacific, and in turn, it's given a bit of a flick in the overall upper pattern. So we've got this dip in the jet here, just to the west of the Azores, northwest of the Canaries and Madeira. What that's essentially doing is what we're going to start to see is this branch of jet stream winds exiting the southeastern United States. That's going to then push eastwards, and it's going to essentially force this area of low pressure in the position it's in at the moment, bringing potentially that Portuguese rainfall record for 24-hour period, and force it northwards, and then weaken the stone within the river, i.e., the area of high pressure that's been so dominant over the UK, and push it towards Greenland. Now remember, we've got that negative NAO pattern at the moment. It looks as if we're going to maintain that setup at the moment. And it's quite an interesting evolution, quite an interesting change in the overall pattern. You notice here, there's actually two arms of jet stream winds, fairly south for the time of the year, exiting North America, forcing that area of low pressure to push towards the UK. That is going to then break the current setup of dry conditions and indeed a cool east, warm west setup. It's going to then trigger showers, thunderstorms, and a breakdown in the overall pattern. And what's going to be interesting is, do we start to see that jet stream becoming stronger, and in turn, do we start to see a significant change in the pattern? Rather than high pressure dominating, do we see that change to lower pressure? But that high that's currently over us at the moment is back into the northwest as we press through the next 72 hours. And that is a game changer. We are going to open the door to warmer conditions as that area of low pressure pushes north. But then we also have this fight between warm trying to lift north and cool trying to push south. So if we happen to look at the 850 temperatures here, let's go actually first to the overview chart and show you the breakdown in this pattern. So there's that area of low pressure that has brought the disturbed weather to the Western Canaries, Madeira, and indeed the Azores. What happens is, as that jet then exits North America, pushes across the Atlantic, it then forces and picks the area of low pressure up, forces it northwards, then it then weakens the area of high pressure, the cap that has been so dominant across the UK, acting like a kind of lid within the atmosphere, stopping any upward motion, the development of showers and thunderstorms. Once you break that cap, then you start to see the lid coming off and the showers developing. And as we press towards, particularly so the latter half of the week and into the weekend, there's the breakdown starting to take place now. We may have a frontal system associated with that low edging in to the southwest UK, southern Ireland, and forcing the development of showers and thunderstorms. And then the atmosphere really kind of starts to change, and it gives way to these showers and thunderstorms developing here. It looks as if Sunday and then into Monday, you notice here the blow up of these showers and thunderstorms. Look at the difference here between 9 o'clock Sunday morning, a few showers here and there. You get the daytime heating going on, and then bang, you've got the development of these thunderstorms. We may see some flash flooding associated with these showers and storms. It looks as if the bulk of England and Wales is susceptible to the most heavy rain. This is according to the GFS, however. The ECMWF will have fluctuations, and then you notice here the moisture lifting further and further north. As we press through, notice here still messy conditions across the south, but also up into the central and northwestern portions of Europe. That is a big change, by the way, compared to what we've seen in recent times. But it's interesting, right? So we've got, of course, let's go to the 850 temperatures now and show you what's taking place here. And you can see here that we've got, of course, that area of low pressure. allowing the pickup of that warmth over the northwest of Africa up through Iberia. Then that circulation is then drawn, acting like an arm stretched out and pulling that warmth over the western and central Med, northwest into the UK here. How warm we get remains to be seen, but we may approach 30 Celsius by the time we reach the end of the week and into the weekend here. But we have got, of course, an increase in dew point, an increase in humidity. It will feel distinctly summer-like, but it will feel very different to what we've had so far. We've had quite a dry, warm setup in the sunshine, very cool where there's been no sunshine, and temperatures stuck 13, 14 degrees at the very best underneath that kind of thick layer of cloud cover. It's been pretty miserable for many areas throughout the course of the last week or so. But that warmth is lifting north, as you can see here, all courtesy of that area of low pressure to the southwest at the moment. But watch this space. That area of high pressure then allows a cooler, fresher, almost Arctic origin air to come around the top of the high, down the eastern flank, and down over the UK. And we will have to watch this space to see whether that materializes. But there is a fight going on, the battle between warm coming north and cool trying to come south with that negative NAO pattern. So let's look at the 500 geopotential height anomalies here. There's that area of high pressure at the moment across the majority of the UK. There's the trough, there's the negative displaced to the south. But watch as we play through this animation here, folks. Notice the difference in what's going on. There's another trough coming out of eastern North America that is associated with that stronger branch of the jet stream. Then that gives that kick to the area of low pressure that's near the Canaries, northwest of the Canaries at the moment here, forces it to move north, bringing that breakdown over the UK. But look at where the high is positioned now. This is by Wednesday of next week. It's up towards Iceland. It's up towards Greenland. Then we've got another feature coming underneath that. And then that's going to try and push towards the UK here. All the while, there's your classic negative NAO pattern. But as these areas of low pressure come underneath the block up towards the UK, you notice here we don't have that stone now in place. So therefore that disturbed weather can come up and bring the unsettled conditions to the UK. But all the while, when you've got this position of upper level high pressure to the northwest, you've always got that opportunity for northwesterly winds coming around that area of high pressure and into the UK. So quite a complex setup, of course. And as always, do continue to check out the channel here, looking at all the different aspects, looking at not just whether it's raining in the Canaries or sunny and dry in the UK. It's looking at the overall evolution of the pattern. Why are we seeing the changes taking place? Always kind of trying to keep it as interesting as possible. Thanks for watching. Do please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will be back hopefully tomorrow with more. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Bye for now.